Good morning. Good morning. I want to thank you all for joining us this morning as we highlight a critical resource, Cook County Legal Aid for Housing and Debt. I'll say that again. Cook County Legal Aid for Housing and Debt, or CLAHD. Before we begin, I'd like to start by acknowledging our speakers and community leaders who have joined us today. Karina Segalini. Close? Close. Not quite right, but close? Segalini. Court Administrator and Project Manager for Cook County Courts, representing Chief Judge Tim Evans. Cook County Commissioner Scott Britton. Chicago Bar Foundation Director Bob Glaves. Xochitl Flores, who's Bureau Chief for Cook County Department of Economic Development. Thank you all for being here. As I was saying, thank you for joining us as we call attention to a crucial resource for landlords and tenants here in Cook County. Cook County Legal Aid for Housing and Debt is a county-wide initiative that helps residents resolve eviction, foreclosure, debt, and tax deed issues. I'll say that again. Eviction, foreclosure, debt, and tax deed issues. Through a network of community partners, CLAHD provides free legal assistance, counseling, pre-court mediation, case management, and connections to resources for residents, landlords, creditors, debtors, all who are dealing with an array of issues surrounding housing and debt. But today, given what occurred over the weekend, we're here to highlight a specific piece of CLAHD. The work being done to hold back what many are calling the impending tsunami of evictions. Others will speak shortly to federal and state moratoriums on evictions, which expired officially on July 31st. And the Illinois Supreme Court has ruled that eviction orders can start being enforced after the end of August. But while the eviction ban may have ended, we're here today to urge our landlord partners to consider all the alternatives at your disposal before filing those eviction papers, and to think about the impact that evictions can have on vulnerable residents and our communities as a whole. Housing insecurity and homelessness have been shown to lead to food insecurity, domestic violence, mental illness, preventable health conditions, and substance abuse. Forcing our most vulnerable residents, especially as we're on the cusp of another COVID-19 surge with the Delta variant, would have devastating impacts on families that have already borne the brunt of this crisis. So we're here to lift up another path to resolution. CLAHD can provide free, absolutely free, legal assistance and mediation to landlords who would like to work out a solution with their tenant, all without going to court. CLAHD partners can also help connect landlords to cash assistance to pay back rent up to as much as $25,000. To learn more and enroll, please visit www.cookcountylegalaid.org. That's www.cookcountylegalaid.org. Or call our hotline, 855-956-5763. That's 855-956-5763. We need to work together to keep our communities healthy, our small businesses thriving, and our most vulnerable residents housed as we look towards recovery. Now, I'd like Commissioner Scott Britton, who's worked very hard on this legislation, to come forward.
Thank you, Madam President. And I am Scott Britton, the County Commissioner for the 14th District. First off, my thank yous, I have to say, first and foremost, a thank you to President Preckwinkle for her leadership. None of this would happen without her strong support of those individuals who are seeking to stay in their homes, something that is absolutely essential to her agenda and mine. I also want to thank the Office of the Chief Judge and Karina, Bob Glaves of the Chicago Bar Foundation, the Illinois Housing Development Authority, my Chief of Staff, Julie Caviar, has been part of the communications team. It's a little strange to see everybody in person. This is the first time we've ever done this. I didn't really know how tall everybody was, but it's been interesting to see. Hours and hours of Zoom meetings have taken place in order to provide a basis for help and assistance not only to tenants but also to landlords to make sure we don't have this tsunami of evictions that the President has referenced. You know, the COVID-19 pandemic has ravaged every aspect of what makes our communities thrive, and the basic necessity of housing has not been immune to this. You've heard from President Preckwinkle of the clear moral case to avoid evictions, and the financial impact is often too great to ignore. It starts with the simple fact that an economic shutdown has caused many people in Cook County to lose their jobs. Renters in financial crisis who are unable to pay their rent today will not be able to pay rent, security deposits, or move-in fees in the future to get a new home. Renters in Illinois need to earn about $20 an hour to afford a modest two-bedroom apartment. A challenge before the pandemic, with minimum wage in Cook County at $13 an hour, $6.60 for tipped employees. Pre-pandemic in Illinois, only 39% of extremely low-income renters would be able to find an apartment they could afford. And an eviction filing is a public record. And that can be a serious obstacle to those individuals, not just who have been evicted, but simply having the filing on your record is a very damaging thing. The burden of landlords has also been very significant with people not paying their rent. And I sympathize with those individuals who have had significant financial problems associated with owning properties and no income coming in. I have friends who are landlords. I know how challenging this has been. But at the same time, over the last year and a half, many landlords who have not received this payment have been willing to forego payments, but now we have a mechanism by which they can get paid. Landlords know that serving an eviction can cost $700 just in court costs, putting aside attorney's fees. And being an attorney myself, I know how much those cost. Soliciting new tenants for an empty apartment after an eviction can cost as much as $2,500. So the costs of evictions in our communities are just too high. Mass evictions and empty housing stock can cause depreciation of housing and rental prices and increased diversion of tax dollars to provide support services. Homeless individuals can cost the taxpayers of Cook County $30,000 to $50,000 per person if they're living without shelter. Evictions have always been a scenario of last resorts for our landlords, but there's unfortunately a position where we are finding ourselves with the potential of substantial new evictions being filed. Cook County is here to support landlords to avoid this worst-case scenario and keep doing what they do best, which is provide housing. We know that many landlords who are doing the best they can are at a point of weighing their continued financial burdens with selling their units, risking lost rental housing stock for their communities. The Cook County Legal Aid for Housing and Debt, CLAHD, provides a path for landlords thinking about filing for evictions that saves everyone time, energy, and money. With CLAHD, landlords can begin negotiating rent payments plans with mediators provided through the county to get rental arrears paid instead of spending substantial amounts of money on an empty home. CLAHD cuts the red tape and gets straight to the point, negotiating a fair deal for all parties so that tenants can remain housed and landlords can maintain a tenant in good standing. CLAHD services ensure that landlords who have mortgages and other financial obligations related to their businesses get paid for the housing services they provide. To date, Cook County has provided more than $60 million in rental assistance directly to landlords, and rental assistance up to $25,000 is still available without stepping a foot in court. Navigating the housing court process or finding the right services can be challenging. CLAHD provides legal support for landlords and tenants and is available to ensure that everyone is able to negotiate a fair deal. I'm grateful to be part of this team. When this process started, my fiancée Allison in Los Angeles County connected me with the LA County Supervisor. So we have been using every resource we've been able to obtain to coordinate what has been done in other large counties and which is now being done here. But I can tell you that the CLAHD program is now a model for all communities and all counties, particularly of a large size, throughout the United States. That's because of the people standing behind me, and particularly because of the leadership of President Preckwinkle. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Karina Segalini, who's Court Administrator and Project Manager for Cook County Courts.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, President Preckwinkle. I will be speaking on behalf of Chief Judge Evans, who had a prior commitment this morning and was unable to make it. The Circuit Court of Cook County is grateful for the joint collaboration between the executive and judicial branches to come up with this comprehensive program that benefits both landlords and tenants. As President Preckwinkle noted, the federal moratorium expired this past Saturday. Similarly, Governor Pritzker's restrictions on initiating eviction actions against covered persons also expired. This means that as of today, all eviction cases can be filed without regard to the financial impact of COVID on any tenant's income. Because all eviction actions can be filed right now, the Illinois Supreme Court has also prohibited our trial courts from entering any judgments of evictions or holding any trials for evictions against covered persons. This prohibition lasts through September 1st. The exceptions under this Supreme Court directive allow judgments of evictions against non-covered persons and in cases where there is a health and safety hazard. The Circuit Court of Cook County and the Chief Judge are currently working to bring our procedures and processes into alignment with these directives. Given that there are an estimated 30 to 40 million people nationwide who are at risk of eviction, and also given that the U.S. Census Bureau's Household Pulse Survey indicates that many people in the Chicagoland area are not confident in paying next month's rent, Cook County is not immune to a spike in eviction filings because of this lift of the moratorium. That is, unless both landlords and tenants begin accessing the rental assistance programs that are available to them before coming to court. The court echoes the position of President Preckwinkle, Commissioner Britton, and the Cook County Board, and encourages landlords and tenants to take advantage of the pre-court services that CCLAHD offers to them. These resources can connect them to the rental assistance programs that are available and hopefully prevent them from coming to court. However, as a court, we do know that eviction cases will be filed. In January of 2021, the court created the Early Resolution Program. This program helps both landlords and tenants. Under the program, all eviction cases now have a case management date 30 days after the initial court filing. This means that now, in most cases, eviction judgments are not entered on the first court date. Instead, at this case management date, both landlords and tenants who do not have a lawyer get an opportunity to access legal aid resources during court. A program case manager who is in the court call working directly with the judge connects both landlords and tenants to lawyers who can advise them in an individual private setting and negotiate an outcome to the eviction case. All of these services are provided remotely, and the judges presiding over these eviction cases continue them for a minimum of 2 weeks to ensure all parties have equal access to the resources. While not all cases will avoid eviction, the court is committed to providing the right resources to empower and educate litigants who do not have lawyers. By providing these resources, people who are navigating the court system without a lawyer can feel heard by the court and can now understand what is an otherwise complicated court process. The court is very thankful to the Chicago Bar Foundation, Commissioner Britton, President Preckwinkle, and the Cook County Board, and the many other legal aid agencies who are actually providing these resources. Without the commitment of these agencies and the ongoing collaboration between the Cook County Board of Commissioners, this program would not be where it is today. Thank you.
We're grateful for the support of the Chicago Bar Foundation for this initiative, and Executive Director Bob Glaves is here.
Thank you, President. Good morning.
Good morning.
I did not get taller during the pandemic, by the way. But thank you. I want to echo all the thank yous to President Preckwinkle, first of all, but to Commissioner Britton and all the commissioners, the Circuit Court, the Chief Judge and his team, and all of the partners in this program. As you've heard, it is quite a partnership that's come together. Two of my colleagues who've been very involved, Samira Nazem and Emmy Veenbos, are here as well today. But it has been quite a collaboration, and I just want to echo a couple points, even though you've heard them from others. First of all, everybody involved in this program from the beginning has recognized how tough a time this is for small landlords in particular, but all landlords too. There's a lot of people who haven't been getting paid and the escalating consequences of that. It's been a very confusing climate for them with the various assistance programs, not by virtue of the county, by the way. I want to make clear. The federal requirements, though, are a little bit complicated and change a lot. So we recognize it's been a tricky time for landlords and tenants alike. And second, the thing I think we want to echo most today is we know a lot of landlords are feeling at the end of their rope right now. They many times have not been paid for almost 18 months at this point, trying to work through some of these often confusing rental assistance programs, and there are more to come. But every time, if it's really about non-payment, a landlord is going to be better off trying to resolve this before court happens, for all the reasons you've already heard. when it goes all the way to eviction, nobody wins. Not the landlord, not the tenant, not the community. And you've heard all the reasons why that's the case. So it's always been a key element of this program from the beginning that we're going to have legal help, among other things, free legal help available to small landlords as well as tenants. And we have one of our partners in particular, Chicago Volunteer Legal Services, who's available to provide free legal help specifically to small landlords either before or after court cases are filed. So we want to encourage people to take advantage of that. And the partners in the program have put together a checklist for small landlords. It's a Cook County eviction checklist, it's titled, that will soon be on the Clerk of the Circuit Court's website, hopefully later today, but that's a process that's going on right now. But it's going to be on the Chicago Volunteer Legal Services website at cvls.org/COVID eviction later today. So we encourage small landlords in particular to look at this. It's a very user-friendly checklist that explains, first of all, why you're better off trying these alternatives before you go, but all the things you're going to need to do if you do file. Because we really want it to be a thoughtful process before a landlord files in court. And we have these resources. You don't need to be in court to take advantage of these resources. We want them to do that as much as possible before. And I just want to finish noting that while we're focused on the landlords today, and for good reason, tenants are feeling a lot of stress hearing the moratoriums expiring. Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of people, scams and others that are out there offering false hope or just making them more scared than they need to be. We want tenants to know if you get an eviction notice or you get a case filed in court, don't give up. We have free legal help available for you. We can help connect you to rental assistance and other resources. All is not lost if that happens. We want to do what we can to try to help people resolve this beforehand whenever we can, but we can help you even if a case has been filed and even if you do get a notice. So please, you heard President Preckwinkle talk about the website, cookcountylegalaid.org, right at the beginning, and the phone number for the hotline, 855-956-5763. We urge people to be patient these next couple days, especially with the hotline. It's going to get a lot of demand, as you can imagine, in this climate, so it may take a little longer to get through, but people will be there to help, and we're committed to helping everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Out of the President's office, Sochi Flores, our Bureau Chief of Economic Development.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Sochi Flores, and I am the head of the Cook County Bureau of Economic Development. We've heard today about the importance of different entities coming together, collaborating to find solutions for tenants and landlords in order to ensure that individuals stay safely housed within their home. I'm going to talk a little bit about what the county has done and will continue to do. In March, we launched our $73 million rental and utility assistance program and received almost 16,000 applications. As of today, we have funded just under $53 million, and we are continuing to expedite the review of applications to ensure that individuals that need this funding receive this funding. It is a national model because we have come together, collaborating across the board to ensure that we develop a robust system that gets these resources out in an expeditious way. But although we know emergency financial assistance provides some relief, pandemic relief must include comprehensive housing assistance for people experiencing severe hardship. The Cook County Legal Aid for Housing and Debt Program is a critical component to address some of the needs of our residents that have been left financially strapped and unemployed. Additionally, we are working with our partners at the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership to find employment opportunities for those that need it. The list of resources we have been providing covers everything from food, utility, cash assistance, employment, and shelter. These are challenging times, and we are doing all we can to ensure that there is a robust approach to providing the critical social service needs of our residents. We will continue to do more so the residents of Cook County know that you are not alone. Please visit our website, cookcountyil.gov/recovery. It provides a listing of all the resources that we currently have available But we also want to stress that the city, the county, and the state have been collaborating across the board to ensure that we are providing in a centralized place information about all the rental assistance programs that are available. So I urge residents to please visit the website. It's shycookilrenthelp.org. Again, it's shycookilrenthelp.org. So I look forward to continuing to work with our partners to develop, to evolve, and ensure that our residents stay safely within their homes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Nick.
We'll take questions. We'll start with the floors in the room. Am I good at full sometimes?
Back to my name here. Thank you. So unemployment rate currently from June, according to the Illinois Department of Employment and Security, has 10% unemployment rate. And so I was just curious, I know you guys said that you're expecting a tsunami of evictions to happen as a result of unemployment and the pandemic and the moratorium expiring. So I'm just curious to know how will this also potentially affect the spread of the COVID-19 virus, especially in regard to recent cases from the Delta variant, and how can this initiative that you guys are highlighting today be a part of combating that?
Well, first of all, I would encourage anyone who is not yet vaccinated to get a shot. Half of our budget is health care, and so we're very concerned about our present public health crisis. We were hopeful that we could get, as President Biden said earlier this year, about 70% of Americans with at least one shot by the 4th of July. We fell a little short. I think we got about 63% of our countrymen and women vaccinated, but that level of vaccination meant that there was still a large pool of unvaccinated people for the virus to bounce around in. And of course, the Delta variant is considerably more contagious than previous variants, and therefore a greater threat to public health. So we know that people who are housing insecure or who are unhoused are more vulnerable in a variety of ways, and that includes their health care. So whatever we can do to be sure that people remain in their homes will help not only around housing security, but also help us deal with the health crisis we're presently in, the public health crisis we're presently in.
Anything else, Nicole? Anything else, Nicole? Go ahead, Craig. Go ahead, Craig.
I have one question that I think may be for Ms. Segalini, and that is, you talked about the the case management conference that they have in the court system. What percentage of people are taking advantage of that when they get to that stage? Are you seeing enough people say, yes, we want to go that route, or are they saying, no, I want my money the old-fashioned way?
Well, first of all, the moratorium just ended over the weekend, so we may not have a lot of data on this subject, but go ahead, Karina.
I'm going to also have Bob Glaves speak to this question as well. So the program started in January of 2021 across all 6 districts. He has a better handle of the exact number that we've had, but we have helped over 1,000 people. I know that much off the top of my head, but we could certainly follow up with more concrete statistics after this press conference. The people do want to take advantage of it, and our case managers are there to assist. I think what we're advocating here today as well is that there are pre-court services as well. But once they end up in court, we do have those resources available for them to take advantage of while they're in court as well. And I'll turn it over to Bob to address that question as well.
Yeah, and Bob, what I'm trying to get at is whether you're finding enthusiasm or for this route versus people just saying, out of my way, I know I can get my money this way.
Yeah, I think most people are willing to participate in it and want to participate in it. I think we have to recognize by the time cases get to court, there's a lot of distrust that's built up typically, and also to the point President Preckwinkle made, with the moratorium just ending, the cases that have been filed so far were usually filed under one of the exceptions to the moratorium, so they're not really a good marker for what we're going to see going forward. So a lot of these cases were based on things other than non-payment and other sorts of things. So, but the people who've participated so far, we are finding a lot of them are able to find agreements and start to understand how much better agreeing is than trying to go all the way through eviction. It takes a long time to get through eviction. You heard about the fees and the costs involved, but the other thing is, for a landlord, it's almost never a good outcome to go all the way to eviction. It's going to take a long time, and you have no idea what the condition of the unit's going to be. You have to put it back out to rent. So when people start to understand, I might be pretty upset coming in here already, and filing a case, and might be filing, and this is why we want to encourage this even before filing. Recognizing that people may be feeling stressed and upset with their tenants or their landlords, but going all the way to eviction isn't really a good answer. It's better to try to resolve it even under those circumstances. And we have mediation available, free mediation for people to help work through even when people aren't getting along, to help understand in their own interest why this will be helpful. So we're seeing some good signs, but it's really now that we're going to start to get a better sense of a more normal mix of cases, how this is going to work.